Good hello friends and welcome back to the vlog. So it is week 4, yeah? Is that right? Week 4 of The Owls, I think so. And I finished a book yesterday. I finished Crown of Feathers yesterday, and I totally flew through that book. It was really easy to listen to, and it's a rarity to find books that are really easy to listen to, especially fantasy ones. I find that I get lost in a lot of like the myth and the lore, but for some reason this one just stuck really well through audio, so I'm really glad that I did listen to it. And it was for the Care of Magical Creatures prompt for the Legal Defense of Magical Creatures seminar. So that's one more checked off, and it was really exciting. I also finished Nevernight last week, as you guys saw, so because it is Monday, Mondays are my busy day. I haven't done any reading yet. I went through all 3 of my classes. I had a great presentation this morning via Zoom. It was a lot easier than I was expecting. And after my Shakespeare class, I had some time to sit down and watch The Bachelor Listen to Your Heart. It's so bad. I only watched like an hour and a half of it. It was so bad. So bad. I cannot like legitimately sit and watch that show. It's so bad. I was going to continue some work for my research methods class, and I'll probably read like one more article, and then I'm going to start A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer, because this is the last book that I need for my Quidditch referee requirements. So I'm really hoping that I can actually start this and finish it. I think I'll be able to fly through this. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the audiobook, so that's like one downside, but I'm going to get cracking. And then we'll see. Tomorrow I have a fairly busy day actually. It's my little's birthday, so we're gonna go drive out to her house, and I have a little gift put together for her so we can socially distance but still celebrate her and everything that she is. And she's like literally the sweetest person alive, so I'm really glad to be able to do that. And then I'm going to drive to my G-Big's house because it is also her birthday, so lots of driving. And I have registration tomorrow as a senior. A lot of exciting things happening, and I'm just really looking forward to getting out of the house and getting some stuff done. Hi friends, it is Wednesday, it's 3 o'clock right about now, and I have done just about everything I've needed to do for the day in terms of like my general checklist. On that general checklist was finishing The Lord of the Rings, and wow, I need to take a second and talk about this. I do have plans on making an entire like Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit video, just because I am in a class for it, and it might be one of my projects that I actually end up doing at the end of the semester, so we'll see. I just finished Return of the King, and it really was such a beautiful conclusion to the story. Book 5 brings you through like so many ups and downs, and you sit there and are so invested in these characters to the point where anything that happens to them, you genuinely do feel it. Being able to see the end of book 6, how at peace the world is it's so beautiful. And to say that, like, Tolkien has been through hell and back in the sense that he's been to war, you can really see how his experience shaped the story that he's telling. My heart is so full, and like these little hobbits are always going to have such a good place in my heart. And although like, yeah, the class was sometimes challenging, I'm so glad that I'm taking it, because I was able to really experience like my love for this world growing. Because I know initially, like The Hobbit, I was so bored. Oh my gosh. And I still stand by the fact that I think The Hobbit and then going into The Lord of the Rings felt exactly the same, in the sense that it's the same kind of adventure style, but Two Towers is where everything shifted for me. Oh my gosh. I loved it, and I gave Return of the King 5 stars, and I'm really content, and now I feel really accomplished. So I'm going to go reward myself with a matcha green tea latte, and me, my sister, and my dad are going to hop in the pool because it is a beautiful day outside. It is very warm, and you know what? I got a lot of things done, and I can give myself the rest of the day off. Hi Hi friends, so we're back with those nighttime check-ins because apparently it's like the only time that I want to film. I don't really know what the deal with that is, but like, hello. I kind of feel like that one scene from The Princess Diaries where what's-his-face is like transforming her and she looks at him and she goes, "I look like a moose. Yes, but a very pretty moose. Make all the boy moose go wah, wah." That's what I feel like right now, but you know what? It's fine. My hair's out of the way. So as you guys saw today, me and my sister went into the pool and then I got out and I did a workout with my team and that was hard. And then I had to do rehab because I have shin splints. So I'm not allowed to run until Saturday and until I check in with my trainer. So I am like going on morning walks now because I like need to be able to go outside. And if I don't go outside, I get very sad. So in other news, I have made a lot of progress with The Curse of Dark and Lonely. When I first started reading this, I was up to chapter 10, which is about 100 pages in, and I really wasn't convinced. I didn't know how to feel about it. I didn't find myself really enjoying it all that much, to be completely honest. And I really wasn't sure what all the hype was about. I thought the writing style was kind of boring and I just didn't understand what was so special about it. I think it's because for those first 100 pages you really don't understand enough about the world, so I kept reading because I mean it is really easy to read and the text is huge in comparison to some other novels. So I kept reading and I am on page 255, just around the halfway mark. I think just a little bit over the halfway mark. And I can see why people like Ren so much. I can see why people like Harper's spunk and the sass that she has. It's both comedic and refreshing at the same time. I do want more from this, and I don't exactly know what I want more from it just yet. Like, something just isn't enough for me. I think it partially comes from my original love for Court of Thorns and Roses, which is kind of like the OG Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's bad that I'm like comparing them, and I know they're completely different stories, and I do appreciate that it's a little bit more relatable in the sense that it's the human side really shines. She's very adamant about saying like, no, like I'm not hurt. I swear I'm literally just like this. I'm born like this and I'm proud of it and there's nothing to really be like. She stands up for herself and people underestimate her a lot, and I really appreciate her character, Harper's character. And I like that she's quick to bite at, I almost called him Ren. Oh my god. I really like that she's quick to bite at him because he says it multiple times. It's like, oh, she's the first girl to challenge me, this, that. I do still kind of roll my eyes at the entire fact, and the way the story is going, I don't think there's going to be a positive outcome in the way this plan is working out. But then again, when do all master plans go as planned, you know, unless you're Casbrecker? I told myself I was going to stop reading for tonight and do more schoolwork. I've got a lot of progress done. Quite frankly, I'm getting tired. So I think I'm going to try to read another chapter or two of this before I go to bed, but we'll see. If not, just about past the halfway mark. I could potentially finish this tomorrow with the way that I'm reading it. Like I could read like a good chunk of it in the morning and then a good chunk of it in the evening and hopefully finish it tomorrow. And I already talked about Return of the King. So if I could finish 2 books this week, with this book completing my Owls, and then I could start Wicked Saints, that would be awesome because Wicked Saints is just as big and I think going to be just as easy to fly through so long as I like the story. And I know people really have been liking, what is it, Ruthless Kings? It's Ruthless something. I don't know, the second book in the series. And I've had this on my shelf obviously long enough for the sequel to come out. We'll see if I can get to this week. I'd like to start this week for sure. I do want to start rereading Harry Potter at the end of the month, but I am 100% prioritizing the books that I haven't read, which is why I'm using this for the History of Magic prompt as opposed to Harry Potter, because I totally could switch this out, but like I can do a Harry Potter reread anytime. I know myself and I know like I'm not gonna force myself to read this if I don't want to. This will be my last book for the Owls, so mission is finish A Curse So Dark and Lonely in like the next 2 days and then start Wicked Saints by the end of the week. Curse So Dark and Lonely. And wow, more thoughts tomorrow. Good morning, friends. It is Friday and it's just, oh my gosh, it's the end of the week. Another week has flown by and it doesn't seem real. But last night, I finished A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Now, if you remember, I was on page like 250 something. Like I was only halfway through the novel. And so I decided last night, I wasn't even gonna read, but I like sat down and said, okay, you know, I haven't read all of today, I might as well. And I ended up reading the second half of the book in one sitting. It was nearly 3 a.m. when I finished it, and I have some thoughts. I really love this book. I did. Maybe it's the fact that I genuinely love the Beauty and the Beast story. Like that, obviously the Disney version is like superb. I don't know, something about like seeing their relationship develop in the way that it did just makes it all the better. So I am going to have some spoilers in this section, so if you haven't read the book, I would definitely click away. In terms of my general review, the first quarter of the book is really slow. Like I remember thinking like, I don't know how much I'm gonna like this one. It's way too slow. It's not really, there's nothing happening. But once the plot starts to pick up, it like picks up and it takes off. Because it's both plot centered and character driven, there's a lot to like about this book. I do think that Harper and Wren's characters interact really well with each other. I absolutely adore Gray's character. I think he is such a balancing force throughout this entire novel in the sense that he gives Harper a sense of home, and it's as if Gray is like an older brother figure to her while she's been torn away from her own world. Speaking of Gray, okay, spoilers here. So the fact that there's this whole element of Wren not being the true heir to the throne, to see that it could be Gray blows my mind away. He makes such a sacrificial move at the end of this book that you can definitely see how he would be a ruler in the sense that his loyalties lie so greatly with the people that he cares about, and I think it's very admirable. I think he is an incredible character, very complex, very, I don't want to say underdeveloped. We haven't seen the best of Gray yet. Book 2 follows him a lot more. Genuinely so excited for book 2. As for the roller coaster that this book is, I like that it was slow burn, and I like that Harper challenged Wren so much, and it wasn't so like, it wasn't a case of Stockholm syndrome. And I like the fact that they mentioned this in the book. Like she literally says, I know what Stockholm syndrome is, and I'm just so glad that that was addressed, because every single time I sit there and I'm like, hello, this is literally Stockholm syndrome. Whenever the captee falls in love with the captor, I'm so pleased with how this book turned out, because it really kind of beat my expectations. Now, The Court of Thorns and Roses will forever have the elite spot in my heart, and there's no beating like Face End, you know, in my heart, just because it's one of the first series that got me back into fantasy reading. Genuinely nothing can beat that. So that being said, because this has such a high place in my heart now, I'm really scared for book 2, because so many people said that book 2 isn't as good as book 1, and that makes me really sad. So I think I already put in my loan for book 2 over my library, so I'll probably read the ebook before choosing to buy it, and if I don't choose to buy it, I'm okay with keeping the first one. I wanted to read it to see if I was gonna like it enough to keep it on my shelves, and I am going to keep it on my shelves. I have decided that. But if the rest of the series doesn't hold up, we'll see how I feel about keeping it. This was the book for Transfiguration. Read a book with transformation in it. And that means I have officially completed my owls. All that is left is for me to finish Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan, and the Dewey's 24-hour readathon is tomorrow, so tonight at midnight. I think I'm gonna make it my mission to start this book today and then finish it tomorrow during the 24-hour readathon. And honestly, if I finish it, I don't really know what I want to do next. Like, I know I said I wanted to read Harry Potter, but I kind of want to challenge myself to potentially just read another book. Oh my gosh, there's so many books on my shelves that I haven't read. We'll see what happens. Carvings over the doorway revealed a dedication to the goddess of the sun, Elena. Sounds a little bit like another sun goddess that I know. Let's talk about why I don't like this book. If you follow me on Goodreads, you saw that I was like, what, 20% in? And I called this the dollar store version of Shadow and Bone. I understand being inspired by a story, but this really felt like a watered down Shadow and Bone. The synopsis literally says, prepare to meet a girl named Nadia who hears the whispers of the gods inside her head. A prince surrounded by desperate suitors and deadly assassins. A monster hidden behind pale, tortured eyes and a smile that cuts like a knife. Okay, so we have our three main characters. We have 2 points of view that we follow, even though we have 3 main characters. Literally all day today, I wanted to do anything but read this. Like, yeah, I finished it, but it was honestly one of the worst reading experiences ever. Like, I kept rolling my eyes at the pages. I kept rolling my eyes at what was happening. Half the time I was like skim reading just because I didn't care. Honestly, like, I could have DNF'd this and I would have been fine. Nadia is such a dumb character. Like, she literally says in like the last like 50 pages, I was so naive. You still are! There was one point where, okay, so the fact that it says a prince surrounded by desperate suitors and deadly assassins, it literally, I've never read, what is it, the Selection series, but it sounded like what the Selection series would sound like to me. We saw a moment of that surrounded by suitors moment. Like, I gave this a 2-star, and honestly I think I'm being kind of generous in that. There were only a couple of moments where I was like genuinely reading and genuinely retaining information. I just couldn't care enough about these characters. I quite frankly don't care about them, don't care about the plot. Just because there's like blood everywhere doesn't make this like gory or dark. The characters aren't very brooding and mysterious. The romance is garbage. Oh no, this was just such a disappointment. Like, I am so incredibly disappointed by this. Now, I don't know, I don't want this to come off bad, but there is like a section in the back in her acknowledgements, which I decided to read because I wanted to kind of see a little bit more on. And apparently she's been like drafting this through Tumblr. So this is like a Tumblr book. It's like the modern day Wattpad. I don't know, I didn't like it. It felt very low quality. I don't know. I'm unhauling it if that wasn't clear. Yeah, I don't really have any other thoughts. I'm just kind of dumbfounded, I guess you can say. Yeah. I went from literally reading 2 5-star reads back to back. I ended up watching Beauty and the Beast after having finished A Curse So Dark and Lonely. So that was really fun. But I went from having a lot of fun to not. So I am going to wrap up the vlog here because I have officially finished all of the books on my Owls TBR, which is so exciting. I'm really, really looking forward to the Newts coming up in August. I do feel really, really successful even though I finished the Owls with a really disappointing book. I'm still on a high note because I managed to finish every single book on my TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed week 4. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until then, I'll talk to you on Instagram.